head over onto the flight deck area very shortly. Normally we do take 2 trains out, so we already have one out there, just because it is a bit more busier. Now, my name's Josh, I'm one of the guys here. We also do have Mia, Joel and Richard helping out today, so we'll be on the train and I'll go back there at main station. So if you have any questions or queries, do not hesitate to come and have a chat. Now, the trains, a bit of a rundown, but they will leave that main station there every 30 minutes, that is on the hour, and every half an hour after that. It follows the grey track on your map anti-clockwise around the park. Now your yellow tracks are your walking tracks. It averages about 400 metres in between each area. And it's half all up to 6 kilometres, sorry. Now we also do have toilets and water stations out in the park, and that is at the Monsoon Forest, the aquarium, as well as back at main station. Now if you are looking at going to the flight deck presentation, it will be one of our last stops, but this first one will be the Nocturnal House. Now the Nocturnal House is on a reverse lighting system, so what that means is it will be nice and dark when you head inside. Give your eyes a few seconds to adjust to the darkness, that way you can see the critters inside their habitats. Now we have an abundance of animals in there, that being different birds, mammals and reptiles. And off to the left of that we've got the woodland walk with our antelope wallaroos and agile wallabies.
This is nice.
You did say keep your arms inside the vehicle at all times. That did mean don't walk up, open
Can't
the
we
door.
getting out?
No,
Train departing.
we're staying on right around.
Rightio, our next stop will be the Billabong. Now the Billabong is a very vital little resource, especially during the dry season when we are getting little to no rain. All our little creeks and streams, they start to dry up. Now billabongs, they tend to retain their water, so you'll have an abundance of animals hanging around these wetlands habitats during the dry season. Now, different species you'll find down at our billabong. We've got our pelicans, also got some barramundi, about 4 species of freshwater turtle. You might find yourself some Merton's water monitors, freshwater crocodile, different snake species as well through there. So we'll get golden tree snakes, brown tree snakes, as well as keelbacks. So this stop will be the Billabong. You guys are going to the flight deck, so I'll just keep heading around here. Now the next stop will be the Monsoon Forest. Now Monsoon Forest is a lovely little walk through there. A partial bit of it has been closed just due to some tree work, but luckily all our aviaries are open, so you can visit them. Now they have been sectioned off into their specific habitats, so what that means is when you head up to one of our aviaries, for example, it might say dry woodlands. The animals that you find in that aviary, you'll find out in a dry woodlands out in the wild, which is pretty cool. We've also got some of our monsoonal reptiles through there as well.
This is better than the old Yarrawonga Zoo.
Rightio, looks like we're all good to go back there. Train is departing. Rightio, next stop is the aquarium. Now the aquarium has been set up to represent the natural flow of water up here in the top end. So when you head through the entry door there, you will start in rocky escarpment country out at Kakadu or Litchfield. Now you'll be up in your waterfalls. That water is going to flow down into your creeks, into your river systems, and then out into the ocean. So just keep that in mind as you do walk through the aquarium. So it's going to give you a really good insight into a lot of the aquatic life you'll find up here in the top end without hopping in the water. So we are home to the largest reptile in the world, that being our saltwater crocodile. Now the term saltwater crocodile is very misleading. It implies they're only found in salt water. They can be found in salt water, fresh water, mixture of the both. Even in your chlorinated swimming pool they will thrive. So I tend to use the term estuarine crocodile, as the term saltwater is Graham in our aquarium. Here's our big saltwater crocodile, or estuarine crocodile. Now we've also got our freshwater crocodile, we've got a Merton's water monitor, different turtle species, abundance of fish, aquatic plants, crustaceans. We've also got a file snake in there, so definitely go check that one out too. Now as well, we've also got the big tube. So you're walking underneath the big tube with all our aquatic life swimming over the top of your head, which is also pretty cool to see. So this will be the aquarium. If you are looking at going to that flight deck presentation, just stay aboard. I'll have you around there shortly. Looks like everyone's staying aboard. We'll keep heading around. Are you hopping on?
Yeah, it's all good. I'll just see what
Rightio. We'll keep heading. Rightio. Down the back there in the second carriage, you guys going to the flight deck presentation? Yeah, lovely, rightio. I'll stopping at some of the stops if no one's there. We'll get around there a bit quicker. Rightio. Now we do have our dingoes up here on our right. We've got River and Leia. Now they can be a bit more shy, our resident dingoes. Now they were found over at our monsoon forest. They were hand raised by some of our keepers, but naturally they still can be very shy. So the best time to go check them out is on foot. You do get a better view of that habitat. Now, a bit different to your domesticated dog. They don't bark like a dog. They'll normally howl or whine. Now, they also can rotate their wrist around 360 degrees, which is pretty cool. And they only breed once a year, so they're a little bit different to your domesticated dog. And very good in our ecosystem because they're an apex predator sitting at the top of the food chain. Rightio, on our left we've got the Ulu sandbar. Now there is a presentation there at 1:15. If you are on the 1 o'clock train, it will drop you straight there. And they'll be feeding all the animals in that habitat. So in there we've got a Saratoga, we've got some archerfish. The main ones they will be feeding are your tarpon, barramundi, and also freshwater whipray. Very large, over 1 metre wide. They're very impressive. Now, we also do offer a few different experiences in the park in different areas. It does cost a little bit extra, but they are on the back of your pamphlet. So one of them is the river ray feeding. So you actually go into that habitat with one of our keepers and you'll be able to feed the big freshwater whipray, which is pretty cool. Rightio. On our right hand side, up in front, we've got Goose Lagoon. Now it is a natural lagoon, a part of our wetlands habitat. We don't have any of our animals in care down there, but we get visited by a variety of different wild ones. So different birds of prey, could be a white-bellied seagull, Brahminy kite, whistling kite, black kite. You also get some of your wading birds, so your black-necked storks, brolgas, egrets, as well as ducks and cormorants. Now you also get some of your reptile species down there, so your Merton's water monitors, your turtle species, and some of your snake species as well. There's a bit of frog life down there, so some of our frog eating experts have been your golden tree snakes, brown tree snakes, and your keelbacks. Now of an afternoon you can also get your agile wallabies down the edge of the lagoon as well. Now, on our right hand side we do have Rocky Bridge. Now we don't have anything in Rocky Bridge at the moment, unfortunately. We were home to Bernie, the black wallaroo. He had a pretty long innings, old Bernie, and is no longer with us. Now wallaroos, a lot of people think they're a hybrid animal of a kangaroo and a wallaby. They're actually their own animal in the macropod family, so macropod meaning large foot. Now we get 3 species up here. We do have the black wallaroo, Auburn wallaroo, and the Antler pine wallaroo. Now we do have our Antler pine wallaroos in our woodland walk, so you can go check them out throughout the day. Now, we are going through a bit of our woodlands habitat at the moment. Now, the woodlands habitat occupies around 80% of all the habitat up here in the top end. I'm just going to jump out and get this someone who's lost it. Give me 2 seconds. Always one.
There's always one.
away we go. Rightio, so occupies around 80% of all the habitat, the woodlands, and your other 20% is filled in with your wetlands and monsoon forests. So we do have all three primary habitats on site. Obviously our wetlands being the billabong and the lagoon. We've got our monsoon forest, and it's one of 15,000 pockets you can find of monsoon forest up here in the top end, and it's still growing, which is also pretty cool. Now this woodlands habitat is a lot more thick and dense compared to what you would see on your travels, and there is a reason for this. The park hasn't been naturally burnt since it opened up in 1989. Now this is the start of the dry season. We normally will start our fires. So they're normally controlled burns. They are low and slow burning. The buffaloes are up around the corner here, so that if you do go visit them today, that paddock will be empty. We just do rotate them through. But some of the vehicles there were actually used in mustering up our buffaloes back in the day. So the helicopter, and we've also got the modified vehicle with the claw to bring them to a safe stop. Now sticking on the fires, and we've also the buffalo just up around the corner here. We've got three, Roy, Bailey and Flo, so we'll go nice and slow past them. But with the fires, there they are, they're walking in the middle of the paddock there. See them up around the corner here. We've introduced species such as gamba grass. It was actually brought over from Africa. Grows really tall, and it dries out during the dry season. So what happens is it becomes increased fuel load for these fires. So instead of them being low and slow burning, they can be very fast and a bit more erratic. So you will drive through some areas and some whole trees have just been set alight, unfortunately. Now we also do have some cheeky birds up this way, the black kite. Now it's a perfect example of tool use in animals, but these guys will actually pick up a smouldering stick. They'll fly to a new area, they'll drop it into a new area, and they'll start a new fire. So what's going to happen is it's going to cause a mass exodus of all these animals running out, and they get more food. So you have different insects and small mammals and stuff like that trying to get away from that fire. They can just pick them off as they are running out. Rightio, so this next stop we are going to be stopping at will be the short entrance to the flight deck. Now it is a good show down there. We have a few different birds of prey. We've also got some of our parrot species, nocturnal species, as well as one of the largest bird species here in Australia. Now I'll leave that to your imagination because I'm not going to give too much away. There's a great little show down there. And when you finish that, you can walk over to the nocturnal house. It's about 400 metres, or you can walk back to the main station. So if you follow this path on your left-hand side, follow the signage, it's about a 150 metre walk in, and that show will be starting at around 11 o'clock. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we get in it.
Yeah, we get there.
What a shame.
I'll take payment now, if that's all right.
See you later.
That's all right, take care.
In the top end of Australia, that's basically from Catherine to here. Now in this location you get three main habitats, and the reason we actually picked this location for the park is we have the three main habitats in one place, so it's actually really, really special and really, really unique, and you can see amazing stuff just in one day. Now three habitats, they consist of first, our wetlands. That's where we get our wading birds, our crocodiles, our turtles, all that sort of fun stuff, and that's our Goose Lagoon. Next is our monsoonal forest. Now that's our densely vegetated areas. That's where Berry Springs is. You get some amazing birds there and some amazing insects as well. And the third and final, and actually the most common that we have up here around the top end, is our woodlands. Woodlands covers about 70 to 80% of the top end. Now species, though, aren't constricted to one habitat like these ones. So these are red-collared lorikeets. Now red-collared lorikeets, Darwin local species, not endangered, not threatened at all, doing perfectly fine for themselves. Now, formerly was a subspecies of the rainbow lorikeet, but since has been changed into its own species. So very, very cool. Now, they're nectivorous and frugivorous. So they love nectar and fruit. Now, nectar actually helps us out quite a bit because as this bird's drinking nectar, what's happening is he's getting covered in pollen. As he gets covered in pollen, he's moving flower to flower, helping our trees repollinate, which is absolutely fantastic. An amazing looking little bird. Now, not endangered, not threatened, doing perfectly fine. You often see them in populations of absolute thousands just in Palmerston. Out the front of the gym there's a big population, which is pretty cool. So they've done pretty well around people. Now, with lorikeets, they've actually got a long bristly tongue. Now that long bristly tongue helps them to lap up nectar. They're very beautiful, aren't they? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about nesting because nesting for birds is actually quite vital, and birds nest in all different types of ways. So, particularly lorikeets, they use a resource called hollows. Now, hollow trees very vital for a lot of animals. Now, if we're talking little hollows, like things like this, that could be a home for a lizard or something like that. We're talking a hollow like this, inside of this branch here, that could be a home for, say, a bat. And a lot of our microbat species will live solitary in little hollows like that, so very, very cool. That sounds like a lorikeet that hasn't gone home. I can hear you in the tree. There you are. Just up there, decided he's not going home. Pretty cute. Now, I might see if I can help a little bit. With lorikeets though, they do come in a whole range of different colours as well, so there's different species of lorikeets. I'm just going to go out the back.
Okay.
Now with that, lorikeets, you've got the, like I said, the rainbow lorikeet, that's going to occur down south. And you'll get that around like eastern Sydney and places like that. Now, back to log hollows. We'll get our lorikeet home. So, log hollows, super vital, really, really cool resource. At the back of the arena, can everyone see that one? Yep, big one there. So a big hollow like that, 100, 150 years to form. That's from a eucalyptus tree. Now it can make homes for large animals. And when we're talking larger animals, it could be everything from, you know, parrot, or even something you might not expect. Like a barn owl. How cool is that? Now, she's going to join us in a moment, but we're going to use some teamwork. Do you reckon we can use some teamwork? Yep. So what I need you guys to do is stay as quiet as possible. So she'll come and fly over your head, which is pretty cool. Now, barn owls, found on every continent of Earth except Antarctica. So the key to their success is they love to eat mice, and wherever we've gone, we've released mice by accident, which is pretty cool. Now, next thing with that is the way she finds her mouse is a little bit different to the way you might think. So she actually doesn't rely heavily on her eyesight. She actually relies really heavily on her hearing. And her hearing is way better than yours. If you think you've got good hearing, you haven't really got anything on a barn owl. Because on a clear night, when there's not much noise, this bird could find a mouse in the grass from around about 100 metres away. And it could find it just using its hearing. So you can actually blindfold it and still find a mouse. And they have tested that, which is pretty cool. Now there's a couple of things that help out with this owl's hearing. So first one, have a look at her face.
Beautiful.
Yeah? She's got a satellite dish for her face. That helps out quite a bit. Next one, her ears are actually quite different to ours, so you can't really see them, but her ears are located on different levels. So one's higher than eye level, one's lower than eye level. So she can hear up, down, left, right, and backwards perfectly clearly. So absolutely amazing hearing. It's a really, really cool bird. But that's not her only skill. She's also got silent flight. Now the studies have been done, we know they're nearly completely silent when they fly, but I like to prove stuff. So do you reckon we can use some more teamwork? So I want you to have a bit of trust in me. What I want you to do is close your eyes and just listen. And I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to get her to fly over your head. I just want you to listen to how quiet she is. So keep them sharp, no cheating. I can see you cheating. Keep them sharp. Keep them sharp. I'm not going to tell you when she flies. Keep them sharp. Did anyone heard anything? You can pretty much hear a land, hey? Alright.
I'm eyes closed.
So you can open them now. So she flew over your head 3 times. How good is that? So super, super quiet. Now there's a couple things that help out with that silent flight. First one, she flies really slowly. Now if you're quiet, you don't need to be quick, so that's why she does that. Second one, she's actually really soft. She kind of feels like a cloud or a cotton ball. That helps to muffle the sound as well. And the third, on the edges of her feathers, it's a bit hard to see, but they're flayed and broken, kind of like an eyelash, on the edges of her feathers. And that helps to muffle the sound as she flies as well. So very, very, very efficient at being quiet. Now, a barn owl's hunting style is called quartering. So what quartering is flying up and down a location, listening or hearing for prey. Now, when she does that, if she hears a prey in the grass, she'll do something really, really cool. She'll actually do what's referred to as a hover. And she'll hover still in the sky, wait for that mouse, then dive onto it, which is really, really cool. So see if we can get her to do a hover for you today. It's pretty darn cool. Alright, ready? So, see if she'll do it for us. So she'll go to that spot, hover, and then she'll pounce onto that prey item. So really cool stuff. She's very awesome, isn't she? Now, unfortunately, for barn owls, there is an issue, and this is an issue for a lot of predatory animals around Australia. It's called secondary poisoning. Secondary poisoning is where bait for one animal poisons another. Happens to your dog quite a bit with snail baits and stuff like that. Now, barn owl though, best form of natural pest control you'll ever get. Each night she's going to eat a mouse or two to herself. No problems. If she's got a partner and some young in that nest, could be looking at 4 or 5 per night. And a couple of things with the barn owl. First one, you don't have to pay her, she's free, that's pretty good. Second one, she's really pretty. So you're probably wondering to yourself, well, where do I get a barn owl now? Not well, worse, you need to attract one. So if you've got a hollow log like that, that works really well. You can leave that alone, you might get one that way. If you don't have a hollow log, you can provide a nesting box. And like I said, you get barn owls all over the world. If you're curious about nesting boxes, what animals they can attract, at the end of the show, head down there, take a right, we've got a big nesting box display down there. Now, for those guys just sitting down there on the ground, just a heads up, there's going to be a bird coming out that will fly straight over your head, so I'll have to get you to come sit up here if that's okay, but I'll give you enough time. Now, we're now going to move to a ground dweller. So a ground dweller is an animal that's moving across the ground quite a bit. Now, you can actually be a bird and still be a ground dweller. Now then the question is, what makes a bird a bird? What makes it different from every other species? Does anyone know? What do you reckon? Fly? A+, it's feathers. A lot of people think it's flight, but there is flightless birds, and we're going to be meeting one in a second. Now, with that, this bird has lost the ability to fly, but it's gained something a little bit different, the ability to run and move quickly. And it's one that's pretty well known. What is it?
Emu.
Emu. Is that what we reckon? It's the wedge-tailed eagle. No, I'm joking. It is the emu. Very distinctive, very well-known species. So it's feathers that make birds birds, which is pretty darn cool. But he does still have a wing. He's still got it. Do you want to see his wing? Yeah. All right. Hold on to your seat. That's his wing. Only mean it's a big wing. Now, emus though, the way they get away from predators is to run opposed to flying. So that's how they get away. But if you've seen emus before, you're probably thinking to yourself, Kyle, that's quite a small emu. Well, up here in the north, our birds tend to be a little bit smaller than they are south, so the old emu up here is a little bit smaller than the ones you'll see down there. Now, one really cool thing about emus is actually Dad that does all the parental work. So in the emu world, Mum and Dad get a little bit friendly. After they get friendly, she deposits eggs into his nest. After she deposits eggs into his nest, he does everything from there. She walks off in the sunset. So, I have laid an egg, my friend. We can't show the customers how we did that, but now, when he does sit on that egg, like I said, he's a very dedicated dad. He'll go long periods of time without eating, drinking, or going to the toilet. Very, very dedicated. He'll defend the nest as well. He have quite a few eggs in that nest. You going to sit for us? No, you're going to wander off? Come over here, you can sit. Now, up here he sort of works more as an umbrella than he does an incubator. Down south he's more an incubator. You can sit on it, off you go. You can do it? Thank you. Your aim's horrible, but we appreciate the effort. So, the incubation time for emus is a little bit different to most birds. So most birds it's a week or two, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit less. Emus can take 2 months. So 2 months.
Doesn't want to hear that.
It's like 2 months, see you later, mate. And look, that can happen naturally. So what can happen naturally is the emu gets a spook, a predator comes along, scares him away from that nest, something along those lines. Or a human can scare him away. Something can happen and he leaves that egg exposed. Now in the animal kingdom, if there's a free and easy source of food, there's pretty much always someone to take advantage of it. Emu egg's a little bit different though. It might be free, but it's not easy. Has anyone felt an emu egg before? A couple of people? They're pretty solid. You need a hammer to get into one. But it's a pretty good source of food. There's around about 10 to 12 chicken eggs worth of protein and fat inside of an emu egg. So I'm sure you can imagine a lot of animals are going to want to access it, but the question is how? Well, there is an animal that's come up with a solution to said problem. It's a little bit different to the way you might think. I'm going to be meeting that bird in a second. The solution is something that humans thought made us different from every other animal on Earth. This is the bird here. This is a black-breasted buzzard. Black-breasted buzzard. So it's actually our third largest raptor. So it goes wedge-tailed eagle, white-bellied seagull, black-breasted buzzard, and he does something really cool. This bird can use a tool. For a very long time, humans thought that we were the only animal on Earth that could use a tool, and it's what made us different from every other species. But this bird here can use a tool. Do you hear something even cooler? This is what's referred to as an innate or natural behaviour. Innate or natural. That means this bird hatched from an egg knowing how to use a tool. How cool is that? So this is going to be, just on the end there, mate, this is going to be the bird that will fly quite close to you, so just a heads up. Now, innate or natural. Now I can guarantee you of that, we've had this bird its whole life. It's actually 30, this bird. Wow. It's been doing the bird show for 30 years. They're pretty cool stuff, and we never showed it how to do that. Absolutely amazing. Where you go? You're taking your egg home, are you? That was a bit odd. Oh, fell over. Oh, that's alright, just stay where you are. I'm just going to come straight through the middle there, if that's okay. She's just fallen over. Yeah, coming through, mate. I got you, darling. I got you. Come here. Come here. Thank you. You're a good girl. Right, let's take you over. We'll make it super easy for you today. We've got you. Now, when she does fly home, have a watch of her because she's very, very beautiful. Ready? So you're going to fly home in a second. Do you reckon you can do it? You can do it, I'm leaving you. There you go, you can do it. Good job. Give her a round of applause. Awesome, mate. When she flew home, everyone see that white pattern on her wings there? Yep, that's actually called a white window. Really distinctive feature on a black-breasted buzzard. So if you want to see one in the wild, that's what you look for. You can actually see from underneath them. Now I'm going to get a little bit confusing now. The black-breasted buzzard isn't a buzzard. So in Australia, there's a pretty common trend. We like to name things like things that look like from overseas. Example, our magpie. It's not related to magpies, but we call it a magpie. So our black-breasted buzzard is related to this one, the kites. This one here is a Brahminy kite. Now the Brahminy kite is a very beautiful kite. It's found around our wetlands, found around Darwin, also into Asia, and it's found as far into Asia as India. And he's actually an exceptional fisherman. He's very good at catching fish off the surface of the water. Now, when he does this though, he's being very particular. He's not diving into the water, he's nicking it off the surface. There's a reason for that. And we call this raking, but the reason is, he's not waterproof. So, if he gets covered in water, he gets waterlogged. If he gets waterlogged, he has to swim to the side. Now, Darwin locals, swimming to the side of the river. Good idea? Nah, that's not a. There's something pretty big waiting for you. So not a good survival technique. But there's plenty of food to be had in Darwin. One is flying insects. He's very good at catching stuff out of the air. Now when he does it though, I want you to pay attention to what he does because he'll actually eat it in the air if you pay attention. So here we go, go nice and low so you can see it. Watch him. Catches it. So he ate it. That's called hawking or eating on the wing. Now why would you do that? One, it's energy efficient. So it means you can save energy. And this will make a little bit more sense because there's a lot of kids here. Brothers and sisters, what's the best way to make sure your sibling doesn't get your food?
Eat it fast.
Eat it quickly. Yeah, it's pretty good. It works well, doesn't it? And kites often referred to as the pirates of the sky for that reason, because they'll pirate food off each other. They're very cool stuff. Now, I'm curious about what that work like a vice. Once a fish is in there, they lock and they're very hard to open, even for him. Now, that vice-like grip can lead him into a little bit of trouble sometimes because, you know, a young, boisterous osprey teenager might try to catch something like a dolphin. That's a little bit big, and it can drag them under the water and they drown. That's how powerful those feet are. Here he is, he's just coming in, so I'm going to cool him down in a second, so watch. He's a little bit tired today. Oh, he doesn't normally land on the side, that's very cool. Now, when he dived into the water as well, he's actually got another mechanism that helps him quite a bit. He's waterproof. So all he needs to do is that and all the water comes off him. So his feathers are coated in oil. Oil and water don't like each other too much. Next one, he's actually got black marks underneath his eyes, built-in sunglasses to absorb the glare off the water. There's even more. He's got a second eyelid that's clear. It's called a nictitating membrane. He uses it as goggles to dive into the water so he can see. There's even more, and this one will make the fisherman very jealous. His eyes are comparable to being polarised. So he can see further and clearer into the water than you can just naturally, which is absolutely amazing. Now, unfortunately though, he pretty much brings us to the end of the free flight presentation, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned a little bit. I do hope you like birds 10% as much as we do. A couple of things before you run away though. First one is I just want to say thank you. And the reason I like to say thank you at the end of the presentation is the first step towards conservation is liking an animal. So meeting animals today, I hope you really like one or really love one and you can look after it in your own backyard because it really does make a big difference. Now, if you do want to see a few more animals, I'm going to get another bird out on the glove, just over there. So if you want to head down under the shade cloth, I'll have a bird out there in a couple minutes. If you don't and you want to shoot off, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but thank you guys and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Facing eyes with binocular vision. Let's got that. Second one, hooked and curved beak for tearing flesh from prey items. Got that. And the third and final, powerful feet referred to as talons. And raptors tend to catch their prey utilising their feet. Hence the word raptor. So raptor is actually defined from a Latin word, rapia, and it means to seize and carry off. It's a very, very cool bird. Has absolutely amazing eyes. So Pacific Barza is the species. Now those beautiful yellow eyes help her to see all different types of things, but her favourite thing to eat is green tree frogs and Goliath stick insects and stuff like that. So this bird actually has some of the best colour eyesight you'll see of any bird. They actually estimate they can see 400 shades of green, which kind of makes a lot of sense because if you're hunting a green stick insect in a green tree or a green tree frog in a green tree, you probably have to see green pretty well. Now this one here, Amber, she's not in our bird shows just yet. She does do our afternoon ones from time to time, but she's been trained for a private encounter. So we do actually do private encounters where you can fly a bird with me. We can go into the forest and fly a bird, and that's the one that does it. So she flies tree to tree and then down to your hand if you ever want to do that one. So if you ever want to book that in, you can just mention it to the cafe and they can hook you up. It's a pretty cool one to do. Now, one fun little fact about this one is on her beak, she's got a thing called a tomial tooth. Now that tends to be found more so on falcons, and it's actually used for something pretty horrifying. It's to sever the vertebrae of an animal's neck to kill it. Where she has a double tomial tooth, which is pretty cool. So you have a double notch there. Now the Pacific Barza was also called the crested hawk, and that's because I got this beautiful little crest here. Now Amber here is a rescue bird. She's actually originally wild, but someone nicked her from the wild, unfortunately. Now that does happen from time to time, but if you ever do find an injured animal, my recommendation is take it to a professional. It is illegal to rescue wildlife unless you're associated with a company. Now up here it's Wildcare or Darwin Wildlife Sanctuary, they're the two that do it. Now, she's getting bits of meat as well, so a bit of a heads up if you don't like seeing an animal eat an animal. It's a little bit graphic, I do apologise. Yeah, it's a little bit gross, I'm sorry. Now, something to keep in consideration though, if you do eat veggies or anything like that, or you're vegan or vegetarian, that's awesome, and I'm really happy that you do that. But at the end of the day, that's your choice, and I think it's unfair to take a choice away from an animal. It's the same as if I said to you, all right, cool, today you're going carnivore. Like, it's not fair. So giving an animal choice and control is the name of the game. Give an animal sort of autonomy over its life. Now, does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask one here? Any super specific bird questions?
So the one I've seen of them walking through the park down near the reptile house, that'd be a wild one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You get them on the park all the time.
Yeah, cool.
I tend to see them in 2s and 3s. They're not described as a flocking species by any means, but I often see them in 2s and 3s. And you tend to get them, I find, either in the tall monsoon forest trees, or if you're in the woodlands, they tend to hang around those big black bottles. And that's probably because you get those big like stick insects and stuff in there, so it's just a good place to hunt. The osprey's coming back now, there he is.
Oh, there's a big one.
That's where he lands when he wants to come home. Anyone else have any other questions?
Someone's up on top.
You want something really interesting? A lot of owls. But why would they not be able to see colour? What do you reckon? What time are they hunting?
We're not filming in
We're off to the nocturnal house.